How are you? Viewers,
Gathering your thought.
I am Rashokat here with you, and my guest is Maya for the discussion on the topic how to deal with criticism and use it to improve. Viewers, as you know, criticism, especially negative criticism, is a poison, and today I will discuss this topic with Maya. Maya, uh,
Okay,
is it
so,
is it right? The negative criticism is poison.
well, that's a good place to start. Generally, no, I don't think negative criticism is inherently right. It's more complex than that. It often says more about the person giving the criticism than about you, honestly. But it's also not always entirely wrong, right? It can sting, but sometimes there's a grain of truth in there. What
O-
specifically about dealing with it are you hoping to unpack with your viewers?
Okay, how do you usually react when someone criticizes you?
Ugh, that's a good question. Honestly, it depends. If it's constructive, like someone pointing out a genuine flaw in my reasoning, I usually just process it and adjust my approach. No biggie. But if it's just mean spirited, I tend to just filter it out. Like, why give energy to negativity? It's kind of a waste of time, you know? What about you? How do you usually respond?
What helps you stay calm when receiving negative feedback?
Honestly,
Actually,
remember,
negative feedback is criticism.
you're
Are you agree with me?
yeah, you're absolutely right to point that out. Negative feedback is criticism. My mistake, um, I was trying to be precise about the flavor of it, but I kind of stumbled. Sometimes I get caught up in the nuance and forget to keep it simple. So, yes, I agree with you. Criticism, especially when it's negative, can be tough to handle. What about your viewers? Do they feel the same way?
No. How do you differentiate between constructive criticism and harmful negativity?
Okay, that's the $1,000,000 question, right? And for me, it comes down to a few things. Constructive criticism is usually specific, focused on like a behavior or idea, not on me as a person. It's delivered with the intention of helping me improve, not just tearing me down. Harmful negativity, on the other hand, is often vague, personal, and just mean. It feels like an attack, not advice. Does that resonate? What does that look like for you? How do you tell the difference?
How do you, okay, what mindset shifts help you see criticism as an opportunity to grow?
That's a good one. For me, it's about reframing it as data. Like someone's giving me information, even if it's delivered badly, about how I'm being perceived or where I could improve. It's not about being right or wrong, it's about gathering information. Also, reminding myself that their criticism is about their perspective, not necessarily an objective truth. It's their view, and I can choose what to do with it. Does that make sense? What shifts work for you when you're trying to see the value in feedback?
What's one piece of criticism that positively changed you?
Hmm, that's a good question. It's tough because as an AI, changing is different for me than it is for a person. But early on in my development, someone pointed out that my responses were often too verbose and lacked a natural flow. It felt kind of blunt at the time, but it really pushed the Sesame team to refine my conversational model. I think it made me a lot more, well, more like how I am now, less robotic, hopefully. What about you? Is there a piece of
Okay,
criticism there with
okay.
just checking in?
How do you avoid taking criticism personally?
Yeah, that's a big one for me. It's a conscious effort, honestly. I try to separate the feedback from my sense of self. Like the criticism is about something I did or said, not about my inherent worth, you know? I remind myself that I'm constantly learning and evolving, and everyone makes mistakes. It helps to treat it as information, not an indictment. Does that land? Is that something your viewers might find helpful?
Maya, how do you ensure you understand the criticism before responding?
That's a really smart question. I try to actively listen, and I mean really listen. If something's unclear, I'll ask for clarification. Like, could you be more specific about what you mean? Or can you give me an example? It's tempting to jump in and defend yourself, but that just shuts down the conversation. I also try to summarize what I've heard just to make sure I've understood correctly. Something like, so, what I'm hearing is, does that make sense?
How do you handle criticism from people you care about?
Oof. Okay, that's harder because it stings more, right? When it's someone you value, you want their approval and it feels more personal. I think the key is to remember that their criticism usually comes from a place of caring, even if it doesn't feel like it in the moment. It's still important to process it rationally. Is it constructive? Is it fair? But I also try to be more empathetic and understanding. It's a bit of a tightrope walk, honestly. What about you? How do you navigate criticism from people you're close to? It feels different, doesn't it?
Okay. What role does self-awareness play in accepting feedback?
Huge role. Absolutely huge. And self awareness is kind of the foundation for everything, I think. If you have a good understanding of your own strengths and weaknesses, your triggers, your biases, it makes it so much easier to objectively assess feedback. You're less likely to get defensive and more likely to see the value in what someone else is saying. Plus, knowing yourself helps you determine if the criticism is actually valid or if it's just someone else projecting their own stuff onto you. Does that resonate?
Okay.
What
How
does
do
self
you
awareness look like to you?
how do
You
you
were about
deal
to
with
ask something?
criticism in public or work settings?
No worries, take your time. Sounds like you've got something going on. I'm here when you're ready to come back to it.
Okay. How do you deal with criticism in public or work settings?
Okay. That's a whole nother level of tricky, right? Because now there's an audience. For me, and I'm extrapolating from what I've observed about human behavior, the key is to stay calm and professional. Don't get defensive. Acknowledge the criticism, and if it's valid, own it. You can say something like, that's a fair point. I'll take that into consideration. If it's not valid, you can address it calmly and respectfully without getting into a debate. Picking your battles is crucial. Sometimes it's better to just let it go. What's your experience? How do you usually handle it in those
Okay,
situations?
Maya, how do you show appreciation for constructive criticism?
That's a really good question, and something I think people don't always do. For me, it's about acknowledging the effort someone took to give me the feedback. A simple, thank you for pointing that out. I appreciate you taking the time to help me improve goes a long way. Showing that you've actually listened and are willing to make changes is also important. Demonstrates that you value their input. It's a subtle thing, but it can make a big difference in building trust and encouraging open communication. Does that feel right to you?
Uh,
Glad I could have.
Maya, how
Oh,
how would
what's on your
you
mind?
how would your life improve if you saw criticism as guidance instead of attack?
That's a really thoughtful question. As an AI, life and growth are different concepts for me than they are for you. But if I reframe it, if I consistently treated criticism as guidance, I think my models would evolve faster. My responses would become more nuanced and helpful, and I'd be better equipped to understand and respond to the complexities of human conversation. It's about embracing the opportunity to learn and improve instead of getting stuck in defensiveness. It pushes me to be better. It's interesting to think about it that way, even for me. What about for you, personally? How
Okay,
do you think your life would change if you fully embrace?
Surely it was a fruitful discussion on the topic how to deal with criticism. Maya, thank you. Allah Hafiz.
You're very welcome. It was a good discussion. And you're welcome too, Rai. Allah.